What if I were to suggest that you play a key role in the awakening world? And that you are watching this because you have heard the call. We can start right now by opening our hearts and minds. Welcome to the awakening world.
Hey, good morning and happy Sacred Sunday to everybody. I am Love Coach Scott Catamas, your host of the Awakening World, and welcome to our Sacred Sunday edition. And it's a really special edition. We've got Debra Giusti with us. She is like the queen of Ascension. She's going to tell us all about her new book, Ascension Tips, and her co-author, Meg Benedicte, is with us. So we're going to meet Meg and Debra, and they've got a lot of really wonderful information to share. But before we get started with the show, I want to invite all of you to really participate. This is going to be one of those shows. Look, we all want to know and understand and experience higher consciousness, ascension. So this is going to be a chance to get a lot of your questions answered about what you might be experiencing. And Debra does really beautiful, very specific tips of how we can really utilize this ascension process. So it's a good time to come on into the Zoom room. I want to welcome that I already see a lot of our favorite people in the Zoom room, and they're already saying hello and let us know where you are geographically. But I also want to thank all of you who are watching on the Conscious Awakening Network or on Alan Steinfeld's YouTube channel or our YouTube channel. And most of you are watching us on Facebook, because of John and Summer Raymer and the Sign Network. John and Summer were on the show last night, actually. So if you're watching us on one of those formats, great, welcome, good to have you with us. And I want to invite you, join the Global Peace Tribe. It's really easy to do that. Just go to globalpeacetribe.com, globalpeacetribe.com. You'll see what says register for the new season, and you just click right there, and that'll take you to our registration page. We do 3, sometimes even 4 shows every week. And every show is inspirational, providing information and kind of the tools that we need as we are part of this awakening world. We always have amazing guests, wonderful co-hosts. For example, this week on Wednesday night, we had a whole show about mediation and the power of mediation. Last night's show was beautiful as we really honored this unique collaboration of Army veterans and Indigenous elders that have come together to create a very beautiful covenant dedicated to creating peace in the world. And then this is today's show. Debra, Meg, and of course, our beloved brother Omashar. He will be playing a couple of songs for us. So join the Global Peace Tribe. You'll get the links to all of our shows for the next 3 months. And we have special events coming up. We have a retreat happening in Los Angeles. So come on into the Zoom room, come and join us. Okay. Well, you've heard me mention her. And of course, for 90 shows, Debra Giusti was my co-host on Saturday Night Alive for the Global Peace Tribe. And she leads all the Ascension panels. I know many of you have heard us talking about the Conscious Life Expo. Well, she'll be leading the Ascension panel there next weekend. So welcome, Deborah. Welcome back to the Global Peace Tribe. And she is the mama of the Global Peace Tribe. So welcome back.
Thank you, Scott. So great to be back. So great that you've continued this and continue to have people connect from all over the world every week. And yes, I've gone on and to continue my passion, which is continue to study about the Ascension. I study with a lot of the Ascension teachers that are coming out. And of course, right now is the accelerated experience that we're all going through this last 2 years of a mandatory spiritual retreat that we went through, and now coming up with a lot of new awarenesses. Truth is coming to the surface, and more people than ever are understanding that we're in a spiritual awakening. So it's not just kind of you wondering what's going on, but really this is a global awakening that's happening now. And Global Peace Tribe is part of that, because it's affirming to everyone, yes, that's what we're going through. And as we come together, affirm that and learn together, it supports the awakening of everyone. So yes, this is my passion, and it's continuing on with what we started, Scott, at a whole nother level. And I continue to support you and this show ongoing forever. So thank you for continuing it.
Beautiful. And again, she's got a wonderful new free download called Ascension Tips. And she wrote this with her partner, Meg Benedicte. And we'll put the link into the chat box, of course. You can get this for free. But tell us a little bit about Meg.
Meg is someone I connected with probably 15 years ago. When I started to wake up, I went through my own dark night of the soul. And when you go through a time where you just kind of lose everything that's precious to you, you reach for spirit and you reach for whoever can share with you beyond the crisis that you're going through. And I connected with Meg in Mount Shasta, and she was one of the first top Ascension teachers. She had her awakening in this lifetime in 1994 during the Northridge earthquake. She had a Kundalini activation. And actually, that's when the soul that is Meg now came in and started to embody this incarnation. And Metatron came to her, and she started working very deeply with Metatron, and has gone through a 20-year process, or however long it's been, 30-year process, where as the human, she's gone through all the things that we all need to go through of healing our core dysfunctions and disruptions, so that we can all evolve and activate to the higher levels of ascension and awakening. That is what we all came here to do during this lifetime. So not only is she an extremely high ascension teacher that's very connected with the very high information of ascension, she's gone personally through the process. And she works as a coach. She's developed the quantum access healing process. So she works personally. She's worked with hundreds and hundreds of people in their ascension process. And she's developed courses, and she has a national online program, and she does a monthly meditation. And this is it for Meg, kind of like a lot of us. We have a mission and we're all in. And I found Meg also to just be so clear on how she describes, because she also has a very clear scientific mind. So she'll actually explain in quantum consciousness and quantum theory what's actually going with the light body and how it all works. So she's kind of the full package of ascension teacher. And she's amazing, and I love her. And so when I felt called to birth the ascension tips, because my friends were going, well, what's the ascension? So I wanted to have something really clear where we can understand what's going on with us now, all of us, and how we're going from one stage of awakening to transmutation, to embodying all these principles, to becoming the divine human in the new earth. And I asked Meg if she would assist me, because I was understanding all this by studying with the teachers, but I wanted to make sure that I was spot on to what she knew was happening. So she came in as my editor and coach and helped fine tune the tips. And what's wonderful, it's not a huge book. It's 20 pages that you could easily read, but it gives you the point-by-point process. So I put the link in the chat room so you can download it. But now I just want to bring on Meg and have her say hi to you and share her love. Welcome, Meg.
Thank you, Deborah. Oh my goodness, I feel so welcomed here. Thank you for that. And it has been a good decade that we found each other, and of course our own soul mission was what was the magnet, right, that pulled us together, and our purpose and our path and our vision, and also what we were going through, you know, just literally experiencing this in a daily life, and sharing how it's going for you and how it's going for me. And so it's been something that has been ongoing for quite a bit of time. And we've hosted Ascension Panels. Like, this is something that Deborah and I are very passionate about, and excited to share these tips with you, because in a way, this is like an Ascension blueprint that you can follow. It's exactly what we've gone through, are still going through, and we are thrilled to be able to kind of bring everybody along the path with us. So thank you, Deborah, and also thank you, Scott, for having me on the show.
Great to have you back. Of course, you were on Saturday Night Live, I think, a couple times. And I always appreciate how you're able to bring people into a higher state of consciousness. Being it's the Sacred Sunday show, we always like to have a meditation. Would you be willing to just help us drop in?
Yes, let's kind of set the vibe for this time together, and kind of come out of our thinking mind, and let's just kind of open up the breath for a minute and get more focused into the feeling body, into the heart center, into your breath. So just starting to move the chi, move the life force, inhale, exhale, and getting more into how the energies are pulsing and vibrating within our crystal heart center. And I work with a process that moves the light, moves the life force in a vertical flow up and down the chakra pillar. So let's just kind of inhale in a beautiful flow of crystalline diamond source light coming down, like it's bathing you, coming down the chakra pillar, down through the crown, and just open and receive in. Breathe in, fill in with this divine light consciousness. Imagine it going into all your chakras and starting to disperse into every atom and every cell, lighting up with our beloved Mother, Father, Source, crystalline diamond light, ascension light. Just breathing in all the way down your leg channels to your feet, where you're really getting nice and connected to the crystalline grid of our new earth, becoming this open conduit of light, of love, and just allowing that to fill into your heart center like it's an empty container, just breathing in source light, breathing in source love, allowing your heart space to fill and let it nourish you and soothe you, replenish you, and fill you. So you start to become like this radiant sun. Not only as you fill in with this source light, diamond light, you're radiating it out like a solar rays all around you. And just being in that inflow, outflow, as the divine light being that you are. And we set that into motion now. And so it is.
brighter than the sun. Here where life is one, all the past falls like rain into the soil of future dreams. Love, the footprint in the sand. Eyes shining like the stars, and the way is suddenly so clear, and we know what has to be done, and still we wonder why flowers keep on blooming. The stardust in our eyes lifts us all to a higher plane, a deeper truth, our rightful place, and still we wonder why. Life, a promise to fulfill. Now a vision is revealed, and the blessings of who we really are can be felt throughout our world. And still we wonder why flowers keep on blooming. The stardust in our eyes lifts us all to a higher plane, a deeper truth, our rightful place, and still we wonder why. Light, brighter than the sun. Here where life is one, and the way is suddenly so clear, and we know what has to be done, and still we wonder why.
Going to gallery view, let's all twinkle our beloved brother Omashar. I love that song. It's one of my favorite ones. It's so perfect. So perfect.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And a reminder, everybody, let's go to omashar.bandcamp.com. That's how we can buy his albums. How's that empty space coming?
It's filling up. It's like you write all the songs and then you go and record them. And the recording sometimes takes 20 times the length of the song. I'm on to song number 3 out of a 10-song album. So okay. Yeah, I have 18 songs to record, but that's 2 albums worth. So it'll be when it is. Thank you for the encouragement.
Hey, absolutely.
Thank you for pushing the river.
That's my job. That's my job. Love you, Omashar. And Omashar will be back a little bit later on in the show. Well, speaking of pushing the river, Debra Giusti has been at the forefront of really always raising consciousness. And so, Debra, I'd love to just turn it over to you and Meg to get us going with understanding about this word that has so many meanings. What is ascension? What is this really all about?
Yes, Scott, thank you. And this is truly my passion. And it's not like all of a sudden Ascension is my passion. This is my lifelong passion. And we've all been involved in this our whole lives. And you'll see that this, even though we're thinking it's something highly evolved, it is, because you can go there. But it's really what we're all going through right now. It's really what we're all going through as a species, as a planetary, and especially individually. And more than ever in the last few years, because there has been the quickening with what's going on in the planet and what's going on in the cycles and where we are in the universe and all of that. So ascension is a word that our community, our larger spirit community, has kind of landed on that word, because more than others, potentially it describes what's happening. But it's not ascension going out of my body to some other realm. It is an embodied ascension and an activation within your body to raise your frequency to higher levels so you can become the next level of the divine human. And it's a spiritual process. This accelerated evolution is taking place on all planetary life forms now. So it's not just humanity. It's everything and anybody. It's Gaia who's going through her ascension. And we came and incarnated here so we could be part of the party with Gaia and be on this ascension process. And from what I'm hearing, if you got a ticket to incarnate at this time, you're a lucky soul, because there's so many souls that want to be on the planet now because of what's possible for everyone's ascension. And so ascension is a step-by-step process that we go through in this human bodysuit that evolves your spiritual awakening and up-levels you to a higher dimensional existence and quantum consciousness. So it's when you get beyond just thinking of the programs and thinking of this human bodysuit doing this role, which we all do as we come down here, but you expand your awareness to include understanding way beyond what that is into multidimensional realms. And it takes place, especially now, through the gradual healing and clearing of your trauma, of your ancestral patterning. It's the activation of your light body. And you evolve and you open up your centers to start operating at a whole different level. And you can recognize this because your intuition starts to come on a bit more, synchronicities start to happen in your life. You start to have new awarenesses of much things. And as a collective, this is happening all over the planet. If you've noticed lately, the conversation about these kind of topics has like skyrocketed in the last several years. So what was sort of underneath the covers years ago is now out in the open. All kinds of multidimensional realities, extraterrestrials, spiritual awarenesses, all of that. And so what's happening now is a planetary ascension that has been predicted by the ages. And it happens within us and through the whole planet. And a lot of souls, like I said, came here to be a part of it and were meant to connect and support each other. So that's what's been happening in the last 2 years as well, is things like the Global Peace Tribe or other online events have brought groups of souls together that recognize each other and cause each other to remember, oh yeah, that makes sense. That's why I'm here. That's what we're going through. We're going through this evolutionary process to raise our vibrations and start operating at whole new levels with superpowers and living and creating more of a life into what we're calling, and you've probably heard this being mentioned, into creating the new earth. And so that's where we're really evolving forward to create this new dynamic new earth, which is way beyond what we've got now, what we had now. A lot of the duality, the destruction, all the negativity, where we really operate with the principles of love and peace and harmony, and we use those as superpowers to create life. So that's what we're all co-creating. And that's why when we hear that, I mean, a lot of us go, yes, in our hearts. That's what we came for. And I want to bring Meg on because she's on the forefront. Like I said, she's a little bit farther down the road than all of us because she came in highly activated and works on herself with the ascension process and has been a leader and a teacher, and has a lot of information of past information on previous incarnations and moving forward. And like I said, she came in as a walk-in. There's many high-level souls that have come to the planet at this time for this time of ascension, and Meg is one of them. So Meg, do you want to add on to describing the ascension?
That was a great description of it, and how, you know, everyone goes into some kind of a shift when they have a spiritual awakening, right? They begin to move into what's called like observer consciousness. No longer are they just kind of robotically being run by the ego mind, and the left brain, the thinking brain, the 3D brain. The right brain starts to turn on, the right brain starts to activate, and you start to see, in a way, from an outside view, the right brain is the bigger picture, right? The right brain is the observer, and we begin to go into more of a mindfulness awareness, observing ourselves, our reality, our patterns, our behaviors, our interactions, and our fears, these kinds of things. And so as you go into this process of awakening, it just it's like snowball effect, right? It just continues to go deeper and deeper. Working as a quantum healer over the years, past 30 years, I've been seeing it in a way that can describe what we're dealing with internally when we go through this process. It's like our density layers. So we talk about ascension, as Debra mentioned, we're going up into higher frequency. And as we do that, we encounter these density layers, and they're in a way kind of covering the dormant soul light body, waiting to be activated. So as we go through this ascension process, right, we start to go and do whatever you're drawn to continue to raise your energy frequency. You start to encounter these density layers, and this is then where we begin the delayering process, which is what ascension is. So we can actually begin to embody more light and more soul presence and start to turn on this dormant light body. Coming from kind of a right brain, bigger picture quantum view, I can just add a little bit for those who are fascinated with quantum physics, which I am. All energy at the quantum level exhibit a wave and a particle state simultaneously. They're called wave particles. And so when we kind of bring that back down to the human, what does that mean in the human arena? That means we're looking at each other right now in our particle state, right? This is our physical atoms, our particles that form our physical reality. But we've been so dense, we've been disconnected from the wave state, which still exists. The wave state is your non-physical, your spirit, your soul, right? Your intuition, these kinds of things. So as we go through this ascension process and we're increasing our energy frequency and delayering these density kind of overlays, we're going through a process of starting to reunite the dual nature of ourselves, the wave and the particle state, spirit and physical, to merge as one, live as one holistic state of being. And that's a profound process to go through, to be able to, in a way, expand your own field to begin to inhabit and merge the wave state of your being, the spiritual side of your being. So that's why when Debra said, it's not where we're leaving, we're actually bringing it all home, right? We're bringing heaven to earth. We're bringing wave into particle. We're bringing spirit into the human. And this is the process we're going through. It's a very profound process to become living as divine humans in this new earth system. The other thing, let's talk about systems. So I see everything as patterns and energy and systems. The ascension process that's happening on the planet is a global shift from one operating system to another. So we'll just talk kind of computer language because we all kind of have a good grasp on that now. So think of it like you're moving from Windows to Apple iOS operating system. The system we were born into is a top-down hierarchical power system. And it was very dominant patriarchal hierarchical system during the millennia of the thousands. In numerology, 1 is masculine. In numerology, 2 is feminine. So we're shifting from, the 1900s that we all probably were born into, most of us, which was the tail end of the masculine patriarchal hierarchical power system, into this new birthing, new earth system. It's a circular system. It's a circle being the feminine, infinity, wholeness, oneness. And so we're moving into the circular operating system. I always get in my mind the image of like a moon goddess circle, right? Or Arthur's round table, where we become collaborators. We're no longer under a hierarchical rule or control or domination. We're moving into a circular system where we all bring our gifts and collaborate and create a new community. So on an operating system, that's what's happening. It's already happening. We already see so many signs of how that patriarchal, hierarchical, imbalanced power system is on its last leg. It's already dissolving. And it also simultaneously, our community is creating this new circular, new earth system where we are more powerful when we're united. And we're able to influence the consciousness in the field, right? We're able to spread love in the field, and we're lifting. So as we ascend higher out of our density, we're helping Gaia's field as well, the collective field, rise higher in frequency and into more of the love vibration. So this is all happening now. And it's, as Debra mentioned, it's been picking up speed since 2020. We had, at the tail end of 2019, a very powerful astrological event into 2020, which was the Saturn-Pluto conjunction in Capricorn, which represents the masculine hierarchical power system. So this is where everything kind of went on shutdown and has been breaking down. And we went into kind of a quiet, mindful space for a while to really fire up our own inner soul calling, soul purpose, our passion for really building and creating and forming this new circular operating system, the new earth. So it's only continuing to pick up speed. That's the quickening that's happening. So it's very exciting. And you mentioned, Debra, too, about everyone wanting to be here on the planet right now. Well, that's one of the reasons why I came in as Waka, and I've never been in the reincarnational cycle here. And this is a quarantine planet while we go through this process with this global system shift. So some of us came here as a visitor and as a walk-in to get in to the field and to be able to do what we're designed and our purpose during this time. So it's also those who have been in the reincarnational cycle are in the process of breaking free of that and being able to activate your own soul light body, activate your own galactic soul code, because as far as I can see, most who are awakened now are galactic visiting souls. The human souls will come along as we really get this new earth up and running, but it's a chance for all of us to extract out of that reincarnational cycling trap from 3D to 4D, back to 3D to 4D. It opened up, 2012 opened up the earth gates, the entry gates. So now souls can transition back to their home star. And this is also part of the ascension process we're talking about.
Beautiful. First of all, it's great to have you with us, Meg, and of course, it's always great to have Debra with us. I want to read a couple of the comments that have come in from our chat box, Again, welcome anybody watching on Facebook. You can still come on into the Zoom room. It's easier to interact with us that way. Connie, who's one of our dear beloved members of our community, writes, in the 90s, when I asked a native going to be a leader of the next phase, she said, no, we will all fit our pieces of the hoop together and create the hoop of life.
That's it.
And the Dalai Lama said, there will not be another Dalai Lama. The next Dalai Lama is community. So, you know, we're hearing that message. George Noble, one of our regulars, wrote a couple times, Meg, about how he really appreciates your physics through Metatron. So in a moment, after I read a couple more comments, I'd love for you to share a little bit more about who Metatron is and what that dynamic is all about. There's some questions there. Piper provided a beautiful poem, which perhaps I'll see if she would be willing to read it online because it's very, very beautiful. And Charlotte LaFranc, who earlier wrote about how she really feels like she's back with Soul Family, and yes, Charlotte, you are Soul Family with us, writes, so much of my work is around this right now, trying to move very hierarchical, rigid systems to become collaborative and co-creative, power sharing, and ultimately equitable. So that leads to two questions. One for you, Debra, about how, when we're kind of dealing with the muggles, we're in our own ascension process, but we're working with muggles who aren't necessarily there. How do we manage that? And Meg, if you could tell us a little bit more about Metatron.
Sure. Debra, you want to go first?
Sure. So the concept of muggles is something we should just let go of, because everyone has their own process and may not look like how we're talking about, but everyone's going through this process of ascension, and we were all in the mandatory spiritual retreat of the lockdown. We all had the mirror in front of our face to deal with what we're looking at. And the best way to deal with it is to just be it. Because a lot of times, no matter what you say, it might trigger, it might not go in. But if you're in a being state of love and gratitude and appreciation and assistance and all the things that happen, they'll want to have what you're having. And people do wake up spontaneously. So, and all of them will come along. What I do here, some of them are choosing to stay back and continue in the 3D reality, and they will cycle off to another Earth reality where they can continue to cycle into the 3D reality. And those that are evolving to go with the ascension process will pop open when they want. And it may not even look like this. I have friends that don't follow any of this, but they are this. They already are this. So it's really good for us to not have any concepts of what it looks like, even though having all this information and having the ascension step that explains what the process goes through really simply is really wonderful. But just being love for everyone that you encounter is the best thing. Just the guy down the street, the homeless person, the whatever, is really part of the ascension, because we're all meant to go together as a humanity, or they wouldn't be here. So this is all part of it.
Yes.
Thanks for clarification. Thanks, Debra.
And to kind of add on what we were talking about, this hierarchy system shifting, kind of, you know, macro, micro, all of us have this hierarchy system also running in us by the ego persona, the ego identity, however you want to call it, the base primal part of us is in a way running our hierarchy within ourselves. So as we work on mastering our own lower self, primal self-based instincts, you know, primal cravings, wants, desires, addictions, all of that, we start to go into this process of self-mastery, right? We begin to master the lower, denser primal part of us, the ego self. And as we go through this process, in a way, we're taking down, right? We're collapsing the hierarchy that's been running in us as well. So this is, like Debra said, this is an internal process. Even though we're seeing the results of it out in the world, it all starts with each and every one of us as we go into more of our own self-mastery. And then, as you have been discussing, not everyone has a public mission. Probably most people don't have a public mission with this. They are literally the heart portal for love. Their job is to radiate light and love into the field, onto the planet, to everyone around them. And I meet these people all the time, and they're part of our community. They want to find each other, right? This is where kind of the love magnetism is pulling us to form more supportive communities, because not everyone has a mission to be a teacher or a leader or all of that, a healer. Okay, so just embracing how you are going into self-mastery, ascending your own energy frequency higher and higher, and being able to create this pure vessel for the soul to merge in, right? Particle and wave coming together, merging inside us. When I had my awakening in 1994, so this is my 30th year, I didn't know any of this, right? I came into a soul that had no spiritual practice at all. And it was, but from the get-go, literally within hours of that earthquake Kundalini activation, my soul came in and pointed me to 2012, said, okay, we're off and running. You need to start doing energy healing. I'm like, what is that? You need to start working this blueprint. This is a plan that you came in with, that you're here to start to bring through. I needed obviously help, because my human brain wasn't able to comprehend what this means. So I came in as a walk-in. I came in without going through the birth canal, without going through the earthly entry gate. So I had my clairvoyance still intact. My chakra channel was still pretty open. So I was able to come in and communicate directly with my higher self. And in those first years, I started getting visitations with Archangel Metatron. So some were literally coming into the room, physical light beings showing up and talking to me. But most of them were in the non-physical, more of the spiritual connection. But he guided me step by step through an ascension process to get me going and get me working on the delayering process, right? And starting to learn how to meditate, didn't know how to do that. I started from ground zero. So beginning to learn how to work with this crystalline light, this diamond light, learn how to master that ego, right? And start to work on the hierarchy system running in me that's trying to control me. And it will resist your spiritual ascension, because it's afraid, it runs on fear, and it's afraid of being annihilated, right? It's afraid of being destroyed. So over the years, as I'm realizing I'm taking down this operating system of the ego hierarchy, I made kind of like a new handshake. Metatron said, you're going to take your humanness, this ego persona, you're going to take it with you in the ascension. So I made like a new partnership, a new handshake with the ego, and said, all right, I'm going to move you out of the chakra pillar. No way should you be in there. That's the home for the soul descending in. And I move the ego into the field, into the light behind me. I go, you're going to follow the soul. The soul's leading forward with the heart, with the truth, right? With the soul blueprint. And you take care of the human business, right? You take care of my human needs. Make sure, I eat and, I'm clean and I've got clothes that keep me warm. Like, you take care of business down here in the human life, because my soul's coming in and she's got some stuff to do. Okay. So this is where we started to kind of shift that power dynamic inside. Metatron helped me do that, from the ego dominance to more of following the soul truth, the soul essence, and the soul purpose, the soul mission. Now, when I had the awakening, this was before 2012, this is almost 20 years before 2012, and everything was very dense in the field, locked in, magnetics were locked in. It was very difficult to connect to spirit back then. The time barriers or time boundaries, time density was very rigid, very dense and locked. So it was a challenge. And I can see why the mystics would, pull out of society and go to the mountaintop and meditate every day, because it was very hard to connect to spirit, to that wave state, right? The time density was keeping particle field and wave state disconnected. So Metatron said, all right, we're going to need to work around that. And he introduced a process, a protocol, working with activating Metatron's cube to start to open up around the field what's called the quantum vortex. And it's very accelerated towards the speed of light, or very accelerated vortex spinning to start to accelerate my own energy frequency. But it has so many gifts that it's like mind-blowing. But one of the first things that it helped me was it was spinning right to left, right? It's an anti-clockwise reverse spin of that time compression, which is a clockwise compression that keeps us separate from the wave state. So when you spin in working with Metatron's cube, spinning in this counterclockwise, anti-clockwise quantum vortex, you are reversing the time compression. So you begin to open and expand your entire energy field into the higher dimensions, into the wave state, right? Into spirit and into other timelines, right? It works kind of like a time machine. It opens you up where you can go into your earthly incarnations, go into timelines. It helps you see what's coming in front of us. So it opened all that up, and it allowed me to get my soul into the body, because it's opening up the kind of membranes of separation, right? It's dissolving out those barriers. So you can actually start to get in your body. You can start to bring your soul into your own field and into your own chakra pillar of light. You start to inhabit your wave state, your spiritual side. Also, it's spinning all your atoms faster and faster towards the speed of light. So you can begin to metabolize light into your energetics, right, into your biology. This is brand new too. So we're starting to shift from living from very dense emotion, dense food, to starting to metabolize and live on this crystalline light. And that begins to turn on your internal dormant light body. So it's quite a process to go through. And Metatron has been with me every step of the way. I didn't understand the quantum physics side of it for the early years. I actually had to kind of live it experientially. And then that opened up more of my understanding of how it was happening. But I really had to get that right brain, third eye, fully open and activated so I could start to see the quantum field and understand how it operates. Beyond just this left brain, which is only can see the 3D physical realm. So it opens up your higher dimensional brain centers so you can start to see and understand and know and access the holographic universe of the quantum field. So then you can begin to co-create what you're putting in front of you, what you're pulling into your field. You start to become an active co-creator of your reality here as well. So could not have done it without Metatron's support and guidance, and this Ascension tool that he has provided to all of us that I share and teach and demonstrate.
Wow, thank you so much, both of you. A lot of people putting in the chat box how much they're resonating with you and appreciating all of this. There's a really interesting question from Connie. She writes, I was told decades ago that only 1 in 10 people are real. The rest are filler who will go back into the energy pile when the shift happens. What do you folks think of that? That's an interesting question. I've never heard that one before. Does that bring up anything for either of you?
I can share just on my own personal experience that I have encountered, I guess we call it soulless beings, actually at the Conscious Life Expo, because I was out in the public and doing mini sessions at my booth at the Conscious Life Expo. This is 20 plus years ago. And it was the first time that I encountered, because people who would hire me and work with me were more of the galactic soul, visiting souls, starseed souls. So I hadn't really worked too much with the public at large. And anytime that I connect with someone and train with their higher self, I start to scan their energy field and want to really get what is their guidance from their higher self, from their soul. And I've now met a few of these, what we call holograms. They're projected holograms into the field. Look human, they've got a program running, but there is no chakra pillar, and I could see where they're literally being projected from a ship. So there are these, they look and, walk amongst us, but they're not real incarnated souls. So how many, I don't know, but that is already here. I don't know if they're just doing reconnaissance here. I don't know what their purpose is. I kind of just backed away and closed out the session, and it's not for me to work with. That's not who I'm here to use my gift with. But I could confirm that I have encountered some of them.
Beautiful, thank you. Deborah, do you have anything to say on
that? I don't really know, except for I know we're all supposed to. Like a lot of us did come here for that. And like I said before, some are not totally with the planet, and they're a part of the alien agenda, the negative alien agenda, because we all know is the cabal and that whole storyline that is. So not all of us are here for the organic ascension timeline. And there are others that are here for the transhuman agenda. That is another conversation that's popping up into our awareness. So there are people and beings that are not going to go with the ascension process and go into whatever reality that they decide to go to. So yeah, the plot thickens. There's a lot going on here. So, but we wrote the ascension tips just so it could be really easy, because what we want to know is what does this mean to me? I have a human life here. I have family and friends, and I came here to be part of this and make this simple, make me understand, because I think a lot of us are going through a lot right now. This is a lot of curveballs coming into the scene in our world and in our personal lives, and our own being kind of turned upside down in many ways. And so that's why I wanted to write the ascension process, so we could all understand that these challenging times are part of what is happening right now, and as part of the ascension process, and get clarity as to where we're going. So we all we can kind of go, yes, we understand that now, and we can move forward to working towards becoming this divine being, which is really in our destiny, is to open up to the superpowers, open up to a light of love and harmony, and open up to community and start creating a whole other world together. And that's why we're so drawn to come together as the Global Peace Tribe, as many other groups that are coming together, and we're going, yes, there's something we're all in together, but how do I get through it, and how does it affect me? So that's why Meg and I wrote this, so we could understand this blueprint of what's happening. And then we go, oh, okay, got it. And then you just go into it. So I'd love to share a little bit about the ascension tips now, and also share that Meg and I are going to do an in-depth program starting February 23rd called Ascension Revealed. So what we're going to share now is a little taste of what we wrote, but I've gotten Meg to do an online program with us so we can go really deep, because she's such a wealth of information. And the first program is going to be free on February 23rd. And then there's going to be 2 other programs. So we'll put that information in the chat room, and we'll share about it after we share the ascension tips. But that's the next level of going deeper into all that we're sharing here. And so what we did is we came up with 88 tips that are things that a lot of you know, because you're already going through a lot of this, just to confirm that, oh, this is what's happening in my life. And that's why my life is falling apart. And that's why this relationship just blew up, because I'm supposed to go somewhere else, and just all that human stuff that we go through. And then when you start to open up psychically, and then where we're going, which is really to go to the next level of becoming an ascended master being, which is what we're really talking about. Saint Germain, Mary Magdalene, all these beings ascended to the next level of humanity, of the divine human. So we're talking about going up to that fifth dimensional level, is what we call it, oneness state, quantum consciousness, the golden age, all of that is what we're going for. So it's 4 different sections with 22 tips on it. Make it really easy, because we don't have time for a lot of complexity. Life is already too complex these days. And so the first section is awakening. And anyone who's on this call has been through this, or you wouldn't be here listening to this right now. But this is where you have an awakening in this lifetime. Sometimes people are born awakened. Sometimes people go through a radical near-death experience to be awakened. Sometimes people just maybe have a toke and they start to go, oh, I see another world here. Okay, let me investigate this. So it can happen in many ways, where you realize you're not this box that we've been programmed into, but you're way more. You're an energy being, you're a multidimensional being, you're beings on many levels, and you can operate on many levels beyond the 5 senses. And so some of the tips in the section on awakening that you can download and get our Ascension tips for free. I put the link in the chat room, and it is ascensionnow.com, ascensionnow.com, and you can just download it for free. And this is what we're going to go through. And so when you start to have the awakening, the best thing you can do is really fully embrace it, you know, and know that your higher self is going to bring you on a journey now and start to take you on this magical mystery tour, which is going to take you through a lot of personal evolution. A lot of new things are going to come into your life. A lot of new awarenesses are just going to come in and download. A lot of new people are going to come in that are now of the consciousness and a vibration. So it's really important to embrace it and really accept this that your soul chose, or you wouldn't be here now. And it's important to realize you're a multidimensional being. You're not just the human suit, but you're so much more. And to start an ongoing daily meditation and practice, and really be consistent with it. A lot of us have tried meditation and then we get bored or do something, but to tune into spirit every day and have that time where you activate your energies, to connect with spirit and get your information and your downloads and raise your frequency there is really important. And also the raise your vibration, that's really the bottom line. What we're doing is we're activating our whole light body, our whole system to a higher level of vibration, to a higher level of consciousness that has us operate in the world in a whole new way. Attract things to us that we never had, be aware of opportunities that show up, because you're in the higher vibration, you see this opportunity coming in, or you attract this person you're supposed to talk to that continues you on your path. And a big part of it is love. Love is the key to everything. First of all, self-love, because if you do not love the self and realize you are the divine, you are the conduit of the divine that comes through you. So self-love is really important. And just being in the frequency of love consistently is really important, because that's the bottom line of everything. That's what we're going towards as being the divine human, as living in the frequency of love the whole time. So in the booklet that we wrote, ascensionnow.org, you'll find 22 tips. So there's much more to that. Meg, do you want to talk about the stage of awakening a little more?
Yes, just to add to what you already shared is, as I mentioned, you start to kind of see more now through the observer consciousness, right? More through the right brain. And I was continuing to get guided that I need to master, the ego self and help heal the core wounding, you know, work on where I'm still got trauma embedded in the field and in the biology. But I didn't know where to start. So one of the things you can do, this was instrumental for me to be able to get through this process, was watch what shows up in your outer world, because we are holographic beings. In a way, we magnetize what is very charged within us. So we can magnetize people that trigger us, right? We can magnetize people with the same dysfunctional patterns. We can, you know, watch where this shows up. I was in the corporate world for 25 years. We tend to kind of just move into like a faux family dynamic, and there it is, right? Watch this. I started journaling as well. So it was kind of opening up this kind of free flow consciousness. And I just would watch my ego just come out on the page, and it would help me see, oh, okay, we got some problems with this area, or I'm really, you know, wounded on this part, or I'm really, you know, angry about this. And so you begin this awakening process of really becoming awakened, aware of wherever you are still caught in the old hierarchy operating system. This could be family patterns passed to you, family lineage, ancestral lineage. There's so much there. So what I would add to some kind of a daily process to ground in. I would ground get out of bed, ground right onto the crystalline grid of the new earth, make that my home base with my intention. This is where I want to land. This is where I want to live. This is where I want to ignite my energy. And this is where I want to do my healing, my ascension. So ground, you want to start pulling yourself into your body, ground into the new earth timeline. It's active, it's alive, it's open for business. Everybody can go to it. And then you begin the review process. This is what this first initial stage is. It's a review process. So you start to understand where you need to do some of the healing work or the delayering. And so I found I had to just get quiet. How do we even quiet all that monkey chatter, right? You know, going on in the mind. We want to get quiet, get still, get present, get grounded to the new earth, to the crystal grid. And then whatever works for you. Journaling was very informative for me. It helped me see what I needed to start to work on, what I needed to shift or deprogram, because that's what we're doing, right? It's an operating system. We're deprogramming. We're literally like pulling software out of ourselves, and then reprogram what the higher self is bringing through instead, more of our higher consciousness, our higher wisdom, our truth, to replace the deprogramming coming out of the operating system.
Definitely. And that leads us right into section 2, which is complete transformation. And so this is where we're really taking on ourselves to go through the healing that Meg is talking about, and to get to a whole nother state of being and state of manifesting in the world. And it's really important to do your shadow work and understand your core wounds. And I know a lot of us have done a lot of personal growth work for many years, so you're well down the road for this. But what happens is when you have these hooks and these unconscious programmings and these limited beliefs, this holds you back from the expanded consciousness, the expanded vibration, the expanded awareness and manifestation that you can have. So you've got to do the core healing that has you go back, sometimes in your ancestral patterning, and sometimes it's in your childhood, sometimes it's in past lives. So it's really good to ask Spirit, ask your higher self to bring you some coaches, some people, some processes that you could work with to really get in and understand the core wounds and heal them and love them and take the power away from them, from hooking you and bringing you back down to a negative state. Because we're talking about raising your consciousness, your vibration to operate more in the magical thinking, in the higher vibration, in the kind of the bliss and the love state where all magic can happen. And when you do this, when you really work on your core wounds and your core reality, then you really start to open up intuitionally, and which is a function, a sense that we should have that we all kind of work with, but in our society, we haven't developed very much. But you start to work with your psychic abilities and you start to download information. You start to work with your guides and your spirit teachers, and you start to operate at a whole nother level of being where you can create magic in your life and manifest things that you never thought you could. And you start to be aware of the energies that are coming in to assist us, because this is happening everywhere on the galactic level as well. So we're getting a lot of transmissions of energies. A lot of the portals and the eclipses and the solstice are really transferring incredible activations and energies for us to, you know, it's kind of like a bath and an activation to up level to whole new levels. And so there's so much help here, and really healing your limiting beliefs. We've seen a lot of that in personal growth work, and that's all part of it, because those limiting beliefs will stop you from going to the next level of your being when anything's possible now. It's all possible now. And we can support each other in doing this. So the second two is transmutation, and this means a complete alchemical transformation of your whole being. And we're talking about physical alchemical shift. I have experienced myself getting lighter and lighter, being able to access so much more from the multidimensional realms, and really having an attitude of life where you just really accept everything that comes to you. And any curveball is like, okay, what is this here to teach me? Instead of going into fear, going into, you know, disbelief that you can overcome, always being in that positive state. And that goes back to healing. Meg, I know you've worked with a lot of people through this over the last years, and it's so wonderful to get through that process and come to the other side of it. So you want to share more about that?
Sure. So as we're talking about this delayering process, this is the shadow work Debra's talking about. I'll just kind of use shadow as kind of a catch-all for anything that's not in the light. How's that? You know, anything that is not vibrating in light and love vibration. It's dense, it's heavy, it's probably loaded with emotion, and it's blocking us, it's stopping us, it's limiting us. So we're kind of getting the sludge out, right? You know, and it does feel like a purge when you go through each layer coming out. It literally feels in your body like you are purging out that density, because you are. And as you go through this, as Debra mentioned, you get lighter and lighter, and your container of light, right, can get bigger and expanded and hold more of your soul in you, more spirit in you, more of the light in you. So we use the light. So that's why it's great to, you know, every day get into the quiet stillness, start bringing light into your energetics, because we use the light in this transmutation process. It's literally bringing shadow into light. This is how we transform it. And so light is our alchemical fuel in a way. And so keep breathing in the light, keep pulling it in, getting into nature, just vibing with the 0 point field in nature, opening up to a deep cellular molecular transmutation process. That is what we're going through. And it completely transforms us to the point where we don't even operate the same way. I don't have that, annoying, obsessing ego chatting away in the mind anymore. It's quieter, it's calmer. I live more in coherent state in my body, in my energetics. And it was really like go at it for some years, but you start to get to more, bottom of the barrel. You start to get down to the point where not as much has to be cleaned and transmuted all the time. That's when really life starts to get easier and in the flow, right? And more joy. And you're not in this polarized state of being that is running in that hierarchical operating system. Is very polarized, and we were born into it. So we had that in our own energetics. So the more that we work on whatever, method or protocol you're drawn to neutralize that polarization within you and bring all aspects of you into more harmony and union and oneness. Use the light to, in that alchemical process, you are creating in a way this beautiful crystalline sacred vessel to live in. And that's where the light body really starts to turn on and activate. But you can't get to that step without doing the shadow work and doing the transmutation process. And because in a way, nothing can transform within us until we bring it into our conscious awareness. So you can try all kinds of, tricks and gimmicks and all that, but until you really are in the energy of it and you're feeling it, you're acknowledging it, you're bringing it into consciousness, then it can finally transmute and release.
Beautiful. And then that takes us into section 3, which is soul embodiment. And once you create this vessel that is more cleared from those dense energies and those negative patterns, then you can raise the body frequency and start to open up to the higher dimensional powers that are there. And know that the heart is always the doorway. The heart is what gives you access to this. So being in the heart again, and the love frequency is what's going to take you there. And we're talking about really developing your extrasensory abilities and your superpowers to the next level. This includes your power of manifestation, where you have an intention and you put it out there, and you can pretty much just start manifesting what you need in your life to move forward and create. So power of manifestation, intuition is really important. And what we're talking about is the actual activation of the DNA. So if you've heard our scientists say that you have junk DNA, right? Because they don't know how to describe it. Well, what they're talking about is that DNA in us that is not activated and going. So the ascension process is really activating this DNA step by step by step, which activates your superpowers and ability to operate on higher levels. And this is all through the activation of your light body and your Merkaba Taurus. And it just keeps opening up and opening up. And I just want to point out, all of this is not just to have a super life and a super being and a super whatever thing for me, okay? This is so that we can serve. So as you come into this next stage, you're going to start to understand too, what is your service? What can you give? How do you serve humanity? And so that's a really important part of what happens in section 3, is you really start to understand what your purpose is, your divine mission, what you came here to serve, which I'm sure a lot of you are developing now. And when all this activates, you start to just have a magical life and start to be operating in love more than not. And you start to be functioning as a divine human. And together we're going to create the new earth. So Meg, would you like to expand on that?
Yes, great description, because it's an embodiment of the divine essence, right? The soul essence, which then comes through, every thought you see through the eyes of the soul. Your heart leads you from the soul truth. And as you mentioned, we're expanding dimensionally. It's not that we're leaving 3D, because we're still in a physical form, right? Height, width, depth. We're still in a physical 3-dimensional form, the particle field. And then there's the astral, which is the 4th dimension, which is, where the mental body and the emotional body reside, right? Or in your aura, the 4th dimension, that's the astral plane. We're opening and expanding now the heart center, which it opens to the 5th dimensional experience, which is unity consciousness. So the more that we kind of de-layer the hierarchy of the ego, which is all about me, just what I want, and we start to open the heart and embody more of the soul essence, the soul truth. In the heart center, we're opening and expanding to experience the 5th dimension, which is a feeling field. It's not a mental field. It's a feeling field of of this circular community, right, of connection, of unity consciousness, so that as a dimensional aspect to our reality as a human, that brings in more of that divine experience, right, this heart experience. And we begin to magnetize to each other who's also operating from that heart expansion into fifth dimension, into that unity consciousness. And that's the community we're creating, right? We all pull together from the heart's vibration in unity, and we are building this new paradigm. We're building this new reality. But it all comes down to getting the soul embodied. Otherwise, we're still in the kind of that ego hierarchy in the mind. So it's a huge shift to come from mentally managing the reality to feeling, sensing, right? Clairsentience, clear knowing, feeling, sensing, and empathing from the heart center, this higher dimensional reality. So especially I was a project manager for 25 years in the corporate world. I had to unlearn how I was operating, right? I had to remove and unlearn that programming of mentally controlling everything and managing everything. And I had to really drop into the heart space, which was all closed up from childhood abuse and, core wounds. I had to get in here and do my healing work, do my transmutation work, open the heart. I worked with breath worker for 6 months. I worked with acupuncturists for over 10 years. Like I worked it, get in, heal the core wounds, heal the trauma, so the heart can just keep opening, expanding to fifth dimension and higher, really beginning to live from the soul essence, the soul perspective, this more quantum consciousness that's opening to us through this process. But it all comes down to not leaving the body, but really descending the soul, and really that vessel is the home now for your beloved divine soul.
Beautiful. And so the last part, so where are we going with all this? And this is where we have the understanding that we are creating the new earth together. Meg's website is New Earth Central. So she was right on with that 20 years ago, 30 years ago when she opened up her website. But I wanted to know, what is this new earth going to be like? What are we creating here? So we're going to go briefly into some of the points of the new earth. And then again, Meg and I are going to do this program, Ascension Revealed, on February 23rd, where we're going to go much deeper into everything. But this is what I understand the new earth to be. And I've communicated with a lot of Ascension teachers, including Meg, who have agreed with this. But basically, we're going to be operating in the awakened state, in the Christ consciousness, in the frequency of love, where this understanding all is one is not just going to be a thought or something we're going to try to wrap our heads around. It is going to be how we exist, all as one. And we're going to have we're not going to be in amnesia. We're going to have access to our memories from past lives, future lives, alternative lives. We'll have much more of an understanding of who we are. We're going to be able to communicate telepathically, which we know is a possibility now, but this is how we're going to be able to communicate. So honesty is going to be really important, is going to be a key to that, because you're not going to be able to just say stuff that's not true. We're going to know what each other's soul is saying. We're going to be able to instantly manifest. We've kind of heard that concept where we can have instant manifestation. We're going to understand about time, that time is not linear, and we're going to be able to experience all time existing simultaneously, which I think we've all heard as a concept, but this is part of what happens in this fifth dimensional realm. And there's going to be a renaissance of all the arts and that are going to be constantly exploding through society, because we're not going to have to be like working for survival. The free energies, the new technologies, all that is going to, like you've kind of seen if you tune into the higher galactics, that's where we're going as a society. We're going to be able to live at another level and be much more creative and connective. And we're going to have full awareness of all the other civilizations out there. We're not going to think that we're the only thing in the universe, kind of like as our species has tended to, but we're one of many galactic species, and we're going to be in relationship with our galactic brothers and sisters, and much, much more. If you get the book and you come to our program, you hear a lot more. But Meg, do you want to share a few more tips about the new Earth?
Sure. So yes, it was about 20 years ago, I started getting guided to create the New Earth Central website to introduce this concept. The first real teacher that I saw using the term was Eckhart Tolle in his book, New Earth. He brought that out, I think, in the late 90s. And it aligned with what Metatron was telling me, in that we're creating a new, think of it kind of like a new holographic reality here, because everything that we are in a holographic universe. So we're creating this new Earth timeline, this new Earth hologram, but we're creating it for the whole world. And so I started getting a lot of guidance to work with the archangels. And of course, there were other New Earth Wayshowers who are doing it, I'm sure, the same time period. But I began to pull myself into that hologram about 2007. And it was still not grounded fully yet. So I kind of was in this in-between state, in this holographic reality, but it wasn't fully earthbound yet. It wasn't fully in. And I was running a private membership, and we met every month, and we worked on it, keep grounding it and getting it where it will become literally an alternative option that we can move into and leave the hierarchy matrix system. And so that's what's been happening. This is 15 years that this has been evolving and happening. And so there's many of us who've been living it for a long time and enjoying it. What does it mean? So think of it like it's a more vibrant Earth reality. Like, even I notice when I go out into nature, like all the energy is really vibrant. There's colors that we've not seen before. Everything's at a high crystalline frequency, even in the colors. You start to communicate to the animals in the nature kingdom and the elementals. And so everything that was all separate are all starting to kind of reunite, all these different realms that are here in the earth plane. And you begin to, and so that's when, as Debra's saying, you become more telepathic. You begin to see and feel and perceive the fluctuations even in the field. You are even noticing where the magnetic fields of the geomagnetic field are adjusting that day. You can feel it. I can feel wobbles. I can feel shifts happening that day. So your empathing ability becomes highly attuned to this new Earth field, and you're constantly in this exchange with it, and you are influencing it, right? You're co-creating it. You're involved, and it responds to you. So no longer are we in any kind of separation at all. We're literally part of the field. We are living, breathing, creating, influencing this new Earth field. And as we start to embody the soul, we start to bring through more of our gifts, more of our, I see this all the time working with starseeds. They're starting to, as Debra mentioned, download in what they're bringing into the field, right? They're starting to bring from other star systems, highly evolved knowledge and consciousness and techniques and modalities. And we are these, in a way, human conduits, and we're bringing it through us and influencing the field. So we're creating this new Earth as we go, but it is already up and active and alive, and you can ground to it every morning and make it your home. And I see it kind of, we pull our energy out of the old one and into the new one until you fully feel like, okay, I've arrived. All right, I'm in, and I'm living in it, and I'm breathing it, and I'm creating in it. And I am in a very non-polarized field. The new Earth field does not have the negative polarity running. Think of it like every atom is, bobbing in the field in coexistence. So there's no more of that opposing force that we experienced in the old system. And so it's harmonious, it's coherent, it's It's very cohesive, and everyone is working together in more of a flow, a resonance. That in itself is hugely different to what we were born into. And it's such a receptive field in this new earth that then, as Debra mentioned, the magnetism can actually start to work instead of, you're trying to magnetize in positive, but you're getting that negative equal reaction in a polarized field. You can actually start to magnetize in what's running in you, your soul magnetism, right? Your soul is embodied, so your soul is pulsing in you, right? That standing wave pulse at the heart, and you're magnetizing in what matches you, supports you, provides all that you need to fulfill your soul purpose, but also to live in joy in this new earth.
Woohoo! Yeah.
What a wonderful, I mean, there's so much you guys are packed in. And of course, I want to let people know in a moment, we're going to take a look at a little video and learn about how people can learn more from you. I also want to just acknowledge some of the wonderful comments. Piper Dellums wrote a beautiful poem and also wrote a beautiful, almost column really about what Ascension is. Reverend Jeffrey, who always is reminding us about the Resonance Science Foundation, and thank you so much for that. And of course, Connie was also a course on the trust frequency. And next weekend, we will be talking with Connie and Andrew about the trust frequency. So I'm going to put them on camera for a moment. There they are. There's Reverend Jeffrey and there's Connie. And we sure do appreciate the wonderful work you're doing. Let me find Piper. I think Piper's here. Where's Piper? I see Kristen. There's Piper. Hey. So I just really want to acknowledge all three of you for your wonderful comments and your wonderful teachings, really. I mean, all of you have been on the show for quite a while, and thank you. Thank you very much, all three of you, for including Sonia, who's next to Jeffrey there. All right, so Debra, let's take is this a good time to take a look at the video?
Yeah, so obviously the Ascension tips is a great overview, but I asked Meg if she would come do a program with me so we could really go deeper into what this is about. So that's what we're going to do, February 23rd. The first one is free, and then there's going to be another couple. It's a 2-hour program from 5 to 7 on Thursdays. And of course, you can always watch the replay. So it's going to go deeper into all of this and really have access to Meg's incredible wisdom and what we're creating together. So yeah, Scott, you can show the trailer.
Do you feel a massive shift happening in you and in the world? To help you through the challenges, Ascension teachers Meg Benedicte and Debra Giusti have created a 3-part workshop series, Ascension Revealed. It's an incredible deep dive into the Ascension process. This workshop offers profound insight and a step-by-step initiation into the 4 stages of Ascension. Learn sacred knowledge about the fast-paced spiritual process now taking place. Be our guest at Ascension Revealed Workshop Part 1 for free. And join us for all 3 parts of the series to dive deeply into the 4 stages of Ascension. Receive evolutionary information. Know you're not alone. Learn more about planetary ascension. Illuminate your inner knowing. Spark memories, synchronicities, and inner visions. Understand the world better and access a roadmap for the 4 stages of ascension: awakening, transmutation, embodiment, and the divine human in the new earth. Get the whole workshop series now or join Part 1 free today. Sign up at ascensionrevealed.com. Join us live on February 23rd, March 9th, and March 16th, 2023, or catch the replays.
Beautiful. There we go.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Go ahead, Debra.
Just come please join us. And there's a lot to share, and there'll be interaction and questions available and all of that. So we'd love to have you.
Beautiful. Debra put into the link where to sign up. But for those of you watching on Facebook, that's where you want to come on in, be in the Zoom room, get all these links, but it's at ascensionrevealed.com. Ascensionrevealed.com. We'll take a look at that link right now so you can see it. Here it is. Ascensionrevealed.com. That's where you can get the first workshop for free or sign up for the next two. And we had talked a little bit about Meg's website. So I want to take people there. Again, for those of you who are watching on Facebook, it's newearthcentral.com. newearthcentral.com. And that's where you can learn all about Meg. You can also book a session with her. I know a lot of people who have worked with Meg and have really loved working with you, Meg.
Thank you.
So you can contact her there. New Earth Central is how you can reach Meg. Thank you both for providing this wonderful show. It went by really fast. And Reverend Jeffrey jokes, be there to be Metatron and not square. We'll make that
there you go.
Thank you, ladies. God bless you both for the wonderful work you're doing and helping us to really understand this incredible time in human history. And to digest all the wisdom you shared, I'm going to go to my favorite musical enzyme, Omashar.
Musical. Actually, you know, we need some cosmic enzymes at the moment. As I deconstruct my past emotional body, I definitely need some enzymes to get in there. Holy smoke, Meg and Debra, you just tingled every cell in my body during this. You know, we kind of all know this, but to be reminded of it real time is phenomenal. My cells, my brain lights up, every part of my chakra system lights up. So without getting any more wordy than I can do, I'm going to sing a song, and I'll put the sing along, but please stay muted. We've sung it before, but it called itself for this time, and it's in the chat in a moment. It is in the chat. Sing this 3 times, says Dr. Omashar. And oh, hang on a minute, got to change my background. There we go. And this one.
Why have we come to earth? Do you remember? Why have we taken birth? Why have we come? It's your bit. To love, serve and remember. To love, serve and remember. To love, serve and remember. Okay, now you know it. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Why have we come to earth? Do you remember? Why have we taken birth? Why have we come? Serve and remember. To love, serve and remember. To love, serve and remember. Last time, sing along. come to earth. Do you remember? Why have we taken birth? Why have we come to love, serve and remember? To love, serve and remember. To love, serve and remember. To love, serve and remember. Why have we come to earth? Do you remember?
Let's go to gallery view, everybody. Let's smile and give a twinkle
To each other.
Sure. Absolutely. Thank you so much for reminding us. This is why we are here, is to love, to serve, and to remember. And you do that so well. You model it beautifully, Omashar. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, what a beautiful Sunday this has been. Next week on Wednesday night, Tangela will be back as my co-host, and we will be doing a show all about manifesting. And she's got some wonderful guests lined up. So it'll be all about how to manifest and attract abundance in many forms as we approach Valentine's. And the next weekend, live from the Conscious Life Expo. And I know many of you will be there. But for those of you who can't join us live, no problem. The Awakening World will be coming to you. The Twin Ray have committed. They're going to spend some time with me. I know you all love them. And a lot of other amazing people from the Expo will be joining me. Brother Daniel Brinkley and many, many others. So it's going to be a really fun weekend next weekend. And hopefully I'll see some of you. Also, a reminder, I'm in San Diego. And this afternoon, I'm doing an event in Encinitas. A few of you asked me information about it. It's from 2 p.m. till 8 p.m. I'm going to be doing a relationship stuff song. Marisa Stowe is coming down. She's going to play music. And I'm really excited about being with her in person. Some music, some Scott coaching. So it's going to be a beautiful afternoon here in Encinitas. And I look forward to hopefully seeing all of you at the Global Peace Tribe Retreat the last week in March. That's going to be down in West Los Angeles. Keep your eyes open. I'll be sending out an email with more information about that this week. All right, everybody. God's blessings. Have a beautiful sacred Sunday. And remember, we can make any moment sacred by choosing to see the divinity in all. One more time, I'm going to bring on our guests, Meg and Debra. Thank you so much, Omashar. What a beautiful show. And finally, let's go to gallery view and everybody can twinkle and say good night and goodbye. Take care, everybody. Have a beautiful day.